Good afternoon and welcome. Kent Beam with Nine Business Group, and we're on episode 397. I have no idea what episode we're on. Just talking to local business owners on the Elevate chat group. We want to elevate and promote local businesses. And with us today, we have Ash. Ash, please introduce yourself and your company and tell us what your favorite project or ideal client is.
My name is Ash Mahmoud. I'm the owner and founder of Cairo Development. It's a construction management and development company. We specialize in multifamily apartments, condos, or rental. Specifically, we don't do anything else. In the construction industry, we do mixed use if it's a multifamily as well. I've been into the business companies in 40 years now, but was more active in the last 2 years specifically. It was a small company with no projection of expansion, but in the last 2 years, everyone was complaining through the pandemic. We were fortunate and happy, and I think it was, instead of being a stubborn thing to stop us from growing, it made us grow better, actually. So yeah, my best client is, it's interesting. The one thing I was thinking about it always when I speak with someone is, when someone asks me, who's your best client? I always say, my best client is someone who's confident about what he's doing and someone knows exactly what he's going to achieve. And it doesn't need him to know the knowledge of the thing he's doing, but he needs to know he's hiring the right people and someone who knows how to make decisions with risk assessment, and he doesn't hesitate about his decision. Because one of my biggest obstacles in work, if someone makes a decision and then he comes back and forth.
Cool. When did you, so you said 40 years in the making? So why this business? Was it a family business?
No, I said four. I said four.
Four. Oh, okay. So 4 years in the making. All right.
Yeah.
So why this business? How did you get into it?
So to give you a feedback, I've been into this industry 26 years, and I started too early. When I finished my construction engineering degree, I started this business, and it was a kind of family business at that time. My father is an architect, was an architect, and he passed away. And we started the business together. A year and a half, we couldn't stand each other. I said, to keep the relation as a father-son, I think it's better because both of us were so strong characters, and I decided not to do business again. So I decided not to do this job in terms of ownership and business, and continue as an employee and work for others. And then 10 years later, I decided to do this again. It was successful, and I did so much good in my business. But then I got hit by global crisis in 2008 to 9. It hit me so badly in 2009. By 2010, I was stubborn to continue, and I ended up closing my business. Then I decided again to go back as an employee till the pandemic came in.
So you said that twice now. So you said something early on about your business kind of exploding or taking off in the last couple of years, COVID related, and if so, how or why, and what was the impact on your business, and how did it accelerate your growth?
So when the pandemic happened, at that point, I decided to take my company from consultancy and one owner business to go beyond that. And I started to hire employees, and I started to expand my business. And then the COVID happened. And then they said, everyone goes home, it's locked down and stuff. So I had a trauma from the last twice double trials of doing my own business. And I was so determined. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna lay down. I'm not gonna hide from the storm. I'm just gonna go against it. And I'm gonna take a chance. Construction was considered, luckily, of an essential business. So I continued my business, and I started to look for more work. What happened, in my opinion, is that so many investors and business owners in my field and competition, they decided to slow down. They decided to step back. They decided to approach less people because the common sense at that point was people would not do any work. I didn't get much work through the peak of the pandemic when no one was going out in the street, but I was reaching out to people. I tried to make my presence. I tried to be available. I continued the job that I had in hand. And apparently, once the restrictions started to fall down, I was on the head of the list. Everyone who I've reached out to them and tried to approach them, sell them my idea, convince them to do the projects, convince them to do the investment and development, I was ahead of them and I was their first choice. So when the things went back to normal, I was lucky with a 300% expansion of size of work, which was that now it's also doubled as well.
Good for you. So truly a lot to be said for when everybody's looking right, look left.
Yeah.
If everybody's selling, be buying. If everybody's buying, be selling.
Exactly. I think I did it right this time after twice a try. The one thing is I learned a lot from my couple. I would call them collapse or failure before. I'm not shy to say it, but I think I decided to stand up to the storm and I decided to continue and never go back.
Nice, nice. So if you could have one wish for your business today, what would it be? Big bag of money, magic wand, 12 months from now. What would one wish be for your business that if we could make it happen would make you sing from the mountaintops?
To be the preferred preferred for my clients. Like one thing I want to wish in 1 year with the projects ongoing, I want to be the preferred contractor for my clients. So I would be their first choice to reach. And if I am so busy, they're going to come back again and try to make me do the work for them. So that's what I wish.
Basically repeat business with all your top clients.
Exactly.
Excellent. Okay.
I want to have very satisfied clients by 1 year, from 1 year from now. Very happy clients.
What's your biggest frustration in the marketplace right now? Do you have any?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the problem is, I have two frustrations. One of them is good, one of them is bad. Let's start with the good. The frustration is there's a lot of work and in my business, and whenever I try to scale the business, that's the scale. And when you scale, you have to keep a little bit extra. You get opportunities for expanding the scale. And then you decide between yourself, should I say no, should I say yes, or keep the scale as it is? And then you have to scale it up, and then you have to scale it up. And that's a good frustration because it still is a frustration. The second frustration, which is the non-stability of pricing. Everything is being priced, usually in a construction industry for the last, I would say, 7 to 8 years, it's priced for 6 months. You want to buy lumber, this is the price, valid for 3 months, 4 months, or whatever. Nowadays, things are very volatile and the prices are going up. Unfortunately, nothing is going down, and you can get a price up to 10 days. So the life cycle of doing the work is getting so difficult that we can't find a stability. So things are getting more expensive. And in the same time, the investor and developer cannot understand because their financing, their budgets, the rental income is not equivalent to what's happening in the market.
So how are you pivoting? How are you adjusting to those cost increases? How does it impact your relationship with your clients? How does it impact your team's ability to manage the projects?
Well, the one thing I did with my suppliers and subtrades is that I called them partners. And I would say, guys, basically, you're my partner. If I'm not successful, I'm not going to be able to get you more jobs, and I'm not be able to get you more busy. So I open a kind of a transparent discussion with them. So at least they wouldn't gouge their prices with me. They would be all open. And then I would just use a recent example. There was a hike increase in one of our mechanical equipments, good relation with the mechanical trade. I said, listen, man, the client who doesn't need to eat it, between me and you, we're going to half it. You take half of the increase, I take half of the increase, and I did it. Obviously, It's not the ideal situation, and I cannot do this every day, but sometimes I have to do it to get the client satisfied, because sometimes it's not the client's mistake, honestly. But the best way I do it is basically keep a good relation with the supplier and separate, and be open with the client. And I would say the client, I mean, nowadays no one is taking any contract or any job as a lump sum. No stipulated contracts. It's cost plus, and I keep it open book.
Cool. Good for you. As you've built this version of your company, what is one piece of advice that you would share with the people watching on growing and scaling a business?
The one advice I would share with people trying to scale up their businesses is think out of the box. Think from your client point of view. At the end of the day, the client is expecting basically service, quality, time, control budget, and stuff like that. And try to think in his shoes, because if you're always thinking about your own company growth, trust me, you're not going to grow. And if you think with the way the client expects you to work, you're going to get more work. The second thing is, the second advice I would say is basically scaling a company or growing a company is not difficult if you have a good supportive team working with you. You can make people work more effort, I would say, not more time, more effort, more focused, as much as your team is happy and satisfied with the work they do with you. So I always say our biggest assets in business is the team. It's your colleagues. It's not the computers, it's not the trucks, it's not the equipments. These all could be replaced, but not the team. So take care of your team.
All right, so that leads nicely then into, if you're willing to admit it, what is the biggest mistake that you're willing to share that you've learned from and are doing different as a result?
Okay, so in my second trial of making a successful business, I think I was growing fast, so fast. And I thought about the idea that not to retire, but more to delegate much of my responsibilities as a business owner to other people and rely more on them. And I think that was a big mistake. The biggest, because as a business owner, I mean, if you're expecting to be a business owner who's going to make some money and sit and relax and take a trip every 2 months to Mexico or whatever, don't go into business. You know what I mean? You're gonna be continuously working, and you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna enjoy the growth, and it has to be something that you are passionate about. So I would say I did this mistake when I had a couple of $1 million in the bank account, and I said, what's going to happen worse than this? And I sat and relaxed a little bit while the recession was happening in 2009, and you know how it went. And I sat there and I was taking it easy, wasn't expecting anything to go bad as much as it is, but it went bad. So keep going.
Right. So how does that, I guess from me, one of the things I love helping my clients do is get a business to work without them. It's business as a vehicle in my perspective. It's a vehicle that we can choose to operate that gives us choice, quality of life, income, etc. So how do you reconcile that kind of on the one end where maybe got to quote unquote fat and sassy, right? Maybe took it for advantage. I'm trying not to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to, so I'm not trying to insult you. I apologize, right?
Yeah.
But how is the new version now balancing out between lifestyle and a full-time job? And do you ever see it kind of balancing out between working hard and then having the business work without you a little bit more?
Yeah. So I'm going to use a metaphor. Okay. It's more of a pilot and a commercial air carrier. When I don't know if you know about airplanes, but I took a license before, so I know a little bit of it. I wasn't a pilot ever, but I have always enjoyment for pilots. So the takeoff, the pilot has a co-pilot, and then in takeoff, the pilot takes full control from the minute he steps into the airplane cabin, and he takes a full control for that point till the point of cruise, when takeoff, of course, and cruise. And then through the trip itself, he puts everything on autopilot, and then he keeps the co-pilot responsible of it. So, and then of course, when he does he has to do the landing and go things. I mean, forget the landing for the second, but the idea I see it's, you have to be, when you start a new business, you have to passionately and very closely be around it in the start. That definitely is going to affect the balance of your life to a certain extent for a certain period. Don't make the takeoff for so much time. Balance, it's only a takeoff, and it's escalating, and then you have to go into the cruise mode. Once you got in the cruise mode, be cautious about delegating and balancing. This is where you need to start the balance between your life and your business. You're gonna, to use an example, there might be some waves or winds. The pilot gets into interfere, make sure the flight is safe, and then he goes back into the autopilot mode. If he has to descend, then he will go back and descend and do something, or he has to ascend, and then so on. So keep an eye on the business, and then once you find that the business is growing in a very linear way, keep an eye on it and balance between your life. But I would tell you, when the business is going up and it's taken off, your balance of life is not going to be there, for sure.
No, I love it. That's great advice. I think it's the same, because it is. I think sometimes we take our hands off the steering wheel too soon in business. Yeah. We take some things for granted. And I've met many, probably dozens now, if not 100 business owners who keep their hands on the wheels too long. Mm-hmm. And I think the risk when I see that happening is it's a risk for them as an individual, as a leader, because there's lots to learn as we let go of the business. And I think there's also a risk of not empowering the team. And part of, I think, our job as business owners is to teach the next generation, to help that next general manager, the next manager take the helm and go from being an assistant captain or the co-pilot to being the pilot one day. Because if we never give them the reins, they will never grow into their potential either.
Exactly. Yeah, true.
Excellent. What is the thing you love about your world? Now, your world looks like you do multifamily projects. You love putting dirt. You love putting things together and making buildings. What excites you about that? What enthuses you about that? What's the passion? Why that?
Interesting. So I'll use a small example. One of my best friends, he works in oil and gas, and I'm not undermining oil and gas, petroleum reservoir engineers. And we were sitting in a park, and my son was there and his son was there, and the kids were talking about, oh, my dad does this, my dad does this, and so on. And then he looked at me and he said, you know what? What's great about your business or your work is that you have a tangible, touchable product. Like I love to take my kids, and whenever I drive around the city, I have like 12 buildings that I have built, and I say, I built this building, and I show it, and not a matter of proud, but you see the drawings transferred into an actual place where it's a home for 100 or 200 person living there. They have their houses and they have the life there. It's something which makes you very happy and proud. But my friend said to me, I built so much oil reservoir, make a lot of drilling and stuff. I can't go to my son and say, that's the gas station. This gas is coming from what I did. It's a total different thing. And I'm not undermining anyone's business, but the fact is, I see and feel what I get. I feel how people are happy about it. And I feel how it changes people's life, regardless of the money, but people, when they move from an apartment, which they don't like, they move to a better one and they enjoy it. It's something makes you happy.
I'm so glad that was the answer. I was hoping that was the answer. I recently did a small renovation, and the hard part about being a business coach is my best work isn't mine. Yeah. Right. It's, I guess in a way, it's somebody else's business that gets better. It's their employees that get better. It's now a business owner who's done something amazing with their life, and it's third party. And so when I finished my little renovation, it was cool. It had a beginning and middle end, and there was some concrete, there was some finish to it. Whereas in business, for as much as our clients build businesses that work without them, or they put businesses up for sale, it's gone. The work is gone. It's now somebody else's. And so good for you. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Where do you see this industry in 5 or 10 years? Same, different? How's technology impacting what you build and how you build it?
Yeah, so I would say let me tell you, in the last 5 years, there was, I mean, not 5 years, there's, I mean, through my life cycle, there was a changes in the industry. And these changes are getting to be changing continuously. For example, technology and software, utilize it. I mean, within the industry, people expectations of technology within their life is high. People want to use their phone to open their suite entry door. And people don't want to carry a key, And I remember I used to have a chain key where I had 14 or 15 keys. My car, I used to have a copy of my dad's car. I used to have a copy of my mom's car. I used to have a couple, all the houses or apartments would have it. I would have a copy of my friend's key. And, anyway, what I'm saying is people now just don't want to carry anything. They just, and I'm not against it. I'm just saying it's a challenge in the technology. And I'm using it as an example. People are lazy to go to the thermostat, increase the heat or increase the air conditioning temperature. They want to use it from the phone. They go on the phone, even though it's 2 minutes. So apparently, the industry is not that changing in terms of technology like others, like whatever, but there is a huge implication about technology and people expectation about software. Even within our execution part, we're getting more software. There's so more every day. There's another app or another software, which basically all you need is your your phone or cell phone, and basically you do so much of work of it, and that has an effect. The second change which I see happening in the industry, it's getting more into net zero energy expectation. So nowadays, it's more concerned about how much energy you can save while during the operational side of your business or through the construction or execution of this business. So for example, the energy saving is getting more and more tough, and they're trying to reach as much as possible to be sustainable developments. The third change I would see is the human part of the industry, which is basically, I don't want to be the person criticizing people coming in, but I found that there is less, I'll try to put it in a nice way so I don't get caught by it, but I find there is less new generation who are interested to take, let's say this industry has 40 steps, they're willing to do into the industry with 10 steps. If I'm trying to make it nice and quickly. Sitting and learning, going step by step. I mean, people are trying to rush this, and it's a little bit tough. And it makes their learning experience more difficult. You find a graduate who's finished 7 years or 6 years, he wants to be a director, or he gets to be a director. That's because the gap between the people who retired, who have the experience, or the people in the industry who decided not to work again is huge. So I would say we are having less people going into the industry in the last period. I don't know what's going to happen now because there is a lot of boom in construction. So maybe people will start to move into industry, electrician, plumbers, and stuff like that, carpenters. But I think you just have to be patient a little bit more.
So back to the comment around people, tradespeople, just picking up on, in one aspect, we're getting lazier. We want things to be easier. We want things to be simpler. Is that also impacting our trade? Is that also impacting our trades? Is that impacting people going into the trade business who they're looking at it going, I don't want to pick up a hammer. I don't want to have to lift heavy tools. So are those correlated?
Yes, true. People are avoiding, there's a lot of, I mean, I'm not saying there's a huge differences, or let's say it's a huge opposite. There's people who really want to do the physical work and enjoying the physical work, and they want to work hard. And there's people who want to be like, I hate to say this title, a social media consultant, which is a nice thing, of course, but it's not a physical work, or they call it an influencer, So everyone wants to be an influencer, sitting on the front of a camera or a phone, and that's where I'm getting into, and I'm finding it difficult.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Welcome to the Instant Society. It's hitting us full on. One last question for you.
Sure.
What do you want to be known for?
Can
What do you want to be known for? If there was one sentence or two sentences that your kids, your grandkids said about you, your contractors, what's the one thing you want to be known for?
I want to be known for this guy was respectful and he honors his words, and we enjoyed working with him or knowing him.
That is fantastic, and thank you for sharing that with us. Have a great evening, and best of success for the rest of the year.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.